All right.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Natalie.
Hi, Shelly. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm awesome, thanks.
Good. So, welcome, everybody. Well, while everyone is trickling in, can you guys let us know where you're joining from today? Let's see. Get my chat going here.
Perfect.
Portland, San Francisco,
Vancouver.
New York. We got West Coast, East Coast, Canada,
Surrey, Canada.
Colorado, all my favorite places. The Netherlands. All right.
Fort Collins, Grand Rapids. So welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm glad you guys can hear us. That's always a good, important thing to get established right from the beginning. We've got some people right here in Toronto. That's exciting. Maine, my fellow Mainer. Always got a soft spot. All right.
So welcome, everybody, and thanks for taking time to join Natalie and I today. We're so excited for this month's deep dive. We're going to show you how you can nail your client onboarding process using Practice Better. So by the end of the webinar, you're going to know how to save time with a streamlined onboarding process and create a client experience that makes it easier for your clients to begin working with you. So let me introduce our co-founder and CEO, Natalie. Welcome.
Hi.
And my name is Shelly. I'm the business success coach for Practice Better.
We don't know what we would do without her.
We're excited to be here today.
Yeah, so today, Shelly and I, we love these deep dives. We just love the deep dives, but this is a topic that Shelly and I talk about a lot. And it's a topic that might sound like we're going for some might feel like we're going too far back to basics, but it's such an important piece to any successful business. It's also a piece that gets overlooked a lot. We have, whether it's conversations that Shelly and I have with, practitioners ourselves, or it's from our CS team, there are still people figuring out how to streamline their onboarding process and don't necessarily realize how setting that tone really affects you and your business, as well as your clients, like Shelly was saying just a couple minutes ago. So we're taking it back down to the foundations. We're going to talk about what typical onboarding processes will look like, what you might be familiar with. For sure, let us know in the Q&A if you have questions as we go. And then we're going to talk about how some of that can be streamlined through Practice Better and how that directly affects you and your clients. So before we jump in, let's just first of all find out from you guys who here, let us know in the chat, feels like their onboarding process is solid. Who feels like it's as good as it gets, I have no tweaks to make, like it runs itself?
Frustrating to say the least.
Hardly. Brand new, tell me everything. I love it, Jenna.
Can always
same
learn
here. Is there video? Perhaps there is video. You should be seeing video. Because everyone else see us? No process right now, Nikki says. Could definitely approve. Awesome. You're in the right place. Yes. Yes, we can see you. Okay. So the person who can't see us, you might want to maybe try logging out, logging back in. All right. Well, I think, sorry, go ahead, Charlie.
It is being recorded, so anybody who registered will get a replay.
Yeah, we'll send that out tomorrow. So based on the comments here, I think we're all in the right place. And there's definitely some improvements to be made. So that's really exciting. Of course, we're not excited that your current system, but your current process might be a bit frustrating, but we're really excited about what it can look like by the end of this webinar. All right. So Shelly and I are going to turn our cameras off. and I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to hop right in. And camera. Oops. Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. You think I would have this down pat by now? Sorry, guys. All right, that's the right screen. Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
You can see it?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
All right. So let's think about, what is the first step is what are your clients signing up for with you? So are they signing up for an initial consultation, a discovery call where you vet them and make sure that they're a fit for you? So so we're thinking about services and what needs to happen based on the service that they're going to be booking with you. So if somebody's scheduling a discovery call, that's going to be quite a different flow and process than a 90-minute initial consultation. So regardless of what they're signing on for, the process should be clean and easy for them to follow and complete. We don't want them confused. We want you to look professional. And so it's really good to think about your onboarding process for each of the services that you're going to be offering. So if you're not already having your potential clients self-schedule, we definitely would recommend letting them book themselves. Even if you're not doing that initially, maybe you're not comfortable or completely set up yet, but it's a good goal to think about, letting your clients book for them so it's easy. So when they're on your website and they see that button that says work with me and they're just so excited and they're just ready to book that discovery call with you, they want to take action right away. You don't want them to have to wait, until the next day or wait overnight until they can talk to you on the phone so that you can book it for them. So you really want to set it up for them to self-book. And as you're getting that set up, just keep in mind that you can really personalize this booking process. So if you want to restrict availability so that it restricts clients from booking last minute, I know a lot of people are worried like, oh my gosh, what if, I'm picking my daughter up or I'm at the grocery store and I all of a sudden get a booking and I have to rush home and do a session. So you can set it up so that it limits how far so you can restrict clients from booking last minute. So maybe you have like a 12-hour or 24-hour buffer in there so that you have time to prepare and you're not caught off guard. You can also limit how far in advance clients can book. So maybe you don't want people booking out past 30 days or 45 days because maybe you don't know what your schedule is going to look like. So you can set that in your availability so that you feel comfortable with the booking, letting your clients self-book. So in Practice Better, in my availability, you can also limit what services you offer on which days. So some days, maybe if you only do your free discovery calls from home, maybe you do those remotely because you don't really want to spend time in person with somebody for a 15-minute call. And then the days that you're in your clinic or your office, you limit that to the initial consultations and to follow-ups. So getting that all figured out and set is going to be really helpful. And then if you're using a Google Calendar, you can connect that to Practice Better so that if you have personal events, appointments, you're going to be out of the office, that can just automatically block time off of your calendar so you don't have clients booking a time with you and then you realize, oh my gosh, I had an appointment or I'm going to be out of the office. Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt this really quick. I got to change the screen. I'm sorry, but give me one more second. All right. Okay, there we go. Looks the same. Shelly is right with everything she just talked about, right? Self-booking is such an important part of taking some of the responsibility off of your plate. And as she mentioned, allowing clients to take action. So that's the first piece of this onboarding process that we really want to spend some time on. And so when we're talking about our onboarding process, we're talking about everything that allows a client to go from just coming across your information, whether that be a website, whether that be your blog, wherever the case, wherever it might be, someone who doesn't know you, who's never worked with you, allowing them to start working with you right then and there, and go through the whole process of everything that needs to be done from before they meet you. So that's scheduling an appointment. That might be paying for their appointment. That might be completing forms or signing waivers. That could be confirming that they're coming, right? There's a list of things that need to be done. And the problem, and again, why Shelly and I really want to talk about this, was because a lot of this is being done manually when it really doesn't have to be. So the first piece that Shelly's talking about, which is self-scheduling, is the first piece to the puzzle of having a streamlined or an automatic online client onboarding process. So where we're going to go to first is my services. So I hope everyone here is familiar with the screen you're seeing, which is the practitioner portal homepage. So let's go to My Practice, and under My Services, this is where you're setting up the offerings that you're going to present to your clients. So your onboarding process might start with a different service type, but for today's purpose, we're going to just talk about a free discovery session. Maybe your clients, for their onboarding process, go straight into initial consultation. Maybe they're booking, they're signing up for a package, or they're signing up for a program. Whatever the case might be, you can just interchange this free discovery session with whatever service your clients sign up for. So the first thing is being able to offer your services online. So let's go to My Services, and I'm going to edit this one to show you some of the things Shelly talked about that are really important. So the big thing is also client experience. So the two huge things that we really want to drive home today is thinking about the client experience. Now you all have a tool, right? Whatever plan you're on, you already have a tool that can help you feel and look professional, be organized, right? Put a good foot forward for your clients and potential clients. And so let's start with our service. So when we look at our service, what we set it up with as much information as you can offer to your clients. So that way, when they show up on your website or wherever it is that you're going to have these services, they know, they have all the information that they need to know if they want to take action, right? So they know, okay, this is my free discovery session. You can add a description about what happens in a free discovery session. You know, if it's a 15-minute session or a 30-minute session, you might be saying, you know, this is not a initial consultation. This is, you know, a brief introduction where we get to know each other, and, you know, whatever the case might be, that's your opportunity to tell your clients what they can expect from this service. Set your duration so they know they're coming into a 20-minute, 30-minute, 15-minute session. And if the service, this is a free discovery session, but if it weren't free, you can tell them how much it's going to cost. So maybe it's $50, right? This one's free, so I'll leave it at $0. Now, the other options are, how are you making this available? Are you offering the service in person, by phone, or online? And as Shelly said, because we're talking about the free discovery call, maybe the shorter sessions don't necessarily require in-person sessions. So maybe you're saying, I offer this 20-minute call for potential clients by phone or online, right? So this is where you kind of set up a structure for your clients where you're telling them what you offer. You're making it really clear for them. This is what it is. You can see me this way or that way. It's this much, right? Everything's laid out for them. There's no guesswork. Shelly talked about restrictions in terms of how you can book clients. And this is another piece, because I know sometimes we might feel a little bit hesitant about putting our schedules online and letting clients go ahead and book. But like she said, if you don't want to have clients booking last minute, you have options in here where you can say restrict clients from booking less than, 1 day before. So this means a client wouldn't be able to book 23 hours, for example, before their session or their requested session. They wouldn't even see times available 23 hours from now. It would be 24 hours or more. If you want them to give you a couple days notice, you can say restrict clients from booking 2 days before their session or their requested session. Okay, so you can restrict this on a service-to-service basis. So maybe what you're offering, or maybe the amount of time you need for a heads up for initial consultation differs from a free discovery session or differs from a follow-up session. So you have the flexibility to do this on a service by service basis, right? You can also go ahead down here, and on our Pro and Plus plans, you can edit the notification emails that your clients are going to get. So this is another piece. If you think about booking a client, if you have to do an email, right, back and forth emails with your client to book a time to say, hey, are you available on Tuesday? No, Tuesday doesn't work. What about Thursday? Okay, Thursday at 12 or 2. I can only do 4. Like the back and forth there takes a lot of time, right? So if you're booking via email or you're booking by phone calls, then you also have to go in and remind, or you should be reminding your clients to attend their sessions. So that way they're not wasting your time. And you know that they're going to come, they're going to show up. So you can customize all of these emails that go out to your clients. So for example, when they get the reminder email, you can say, hey, here are a couple things that you need to do ahead of your free discovery session. Don't forget to ABC, right? So you can just type right in here. Right? So you can just type right into the reminder template what you want every client who's coming to a free discovery session to know. And then you don't have to worry about telling them all individually because it's going to go out automatically. Okay? If you're doing video sessions, all the information about how to join the video session is going to be here. So if you're using Practice Better Telehealth, that information is going to be here. If you're using our Zoom integration, that information is here. So it's all there automatically. You don't have to go and create a new link, then go and send it to your client separately. If you're seeing clients in person, that information is going to show up here automatically as well. Okay, so think about what the process looks like for a client just to tell you, I would like to work with you, and how much time does that take you to confirm, like to actually book someone for that session.
Hey, Natalie?
Yeah?
We have a question that's kind of related to where you are right now.
Yeah.
So are the email reminders for the specific type of appointment, or are they for all types of appointments?
Great question. So we have default email reminders that will go out for all service types. The ones right here at the bottom of the service details, so we set up our service. So the ones at the bottom of the service details are specific to the service type that you're in right now. So you could have custom email reminders for every single type of service you offer.
Great. And then there's another question, but when you get over to the calendar or the availability, we'll go through that one.
Perfect. There's also another really cool piece that we've recently added that I think is really helpful for managing an online schedule. Under my schedule, under bookings and cancellations, you can actually also limit how many services you're offering per day or per week. So let me just delete this one and show you. So I can say enable, so I went to bookings and booking. What did I go to? Sorry. My schedule, booking and cancellation settings, okay? So this is an extra one, but sometimes you might say, hey, you know, initial consultations are exhausting. I can only handle doing 2 a day, right? So if we go to enable hourly, daily, or weekly session limits, I can write here like initial consult limit, whatever you want to call it. Choose the initial consultation.
That is so helpful. I love that.
And then I can say I can only do 2 initial consultations a day. Or you can say I can do 8 a week, right? Whatever the case might be. So maybe you are available for 8 hours in the day, but maybe initial consultations just take so much energy. You're saying, I can only do 2. The rest of my day will be filled up with, you know, follow-up consultations or whatever the case might be, whatever else is available that day. Mm-hmm. So you can cap how many of a certain service you're offering per hour, per day, per week. So think about, again, now we have someone scheduling online, but the different restrictions you can put to make sure that, you know, your business is running the way you want it to run, you're taking care of yourself, right? You can add these sorts of restrictions there as well.
Awesome.
Before we head into my availability, just to show you, I just want to show you the other piece of how much control you actually have over your online scheduling if you're using Practice Better. I want to get an idea, how many of you are using the online scheduling feature of Practice Better right now? Right. Me, not yet. I am getting ready to start using Schedule One still, not yet. I just set it up. Awesome. Okay, so we've got a mix, which is really good because I want you guys to, sometimes it's easier to run through it with someone and it's good to see it in kind of real life scenarios. So under My Practice, once you've set up your service, right? Again, we're just going to talk about mainly about the discovery session, but under My Practice, My Availability, that's where you're going in and you're telling your clients, this is when you get to work with me. This is when I'm available. So you can go in and you can choose a time slot. So let's say on Saturdays, I work from 10 to 12. Okay, so you just click on a time slot and drag. And then you essentially just toggle on the services you want to offer on Saturdays. So maybe Saturdays, it's a weekend, I work remotely, you know, I work from home. I'm only going to just do quick free discovery calls. Okay, so I don't have to toggle on all of my services on Saturday. I can restrict just the free discovery calls, and I can even restrict how it's going to be available. So maybe I'm not doing online on Saturdays. I just want to do phone sessions on Saturday morning when I'm home. So you can restrict it to home, not to home, but to phone. And if this is a regular availability slot, every week on Saturdays from 10 to 12, you offer this free discovery call by phone, you can just say the time slot recurs. So it's going to, so you're not going to have to set it up every week. You're going to see Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., and we're going to go to next week, and it's there. And the week after, and it's there. So you're not having to set up your availability every week. You can just have it recur, and you have the flexibility of deciding what to offer on what days at what times, and again, in what capacity. So in person, online, or by phone. Someone had a great question about integrating with Google Calendar. And yes, we absolutely integrate with Google Calendar. If you have a personal calendar, I would definitely recommend linking it through Google. So under the little gear in the top right-hand corner, you'll go to third-party integration, and that's where you'll be able to link your Google Calendar to Practice Better. So what that means is, by default, Practice Better is not going to make you available for sessions, even though you have availability set up in Practice Better, if there is a Google event happening at that time. So it just simplifies managing a busy schedule. So if you have kids, or you have, you have a trip coming up, or you have family in town, or you have, dinner with a friend, or whatever the case might be, if you are having a busy event in your Google Calendar, Practice Better is not going to let someone book during that time. So if you went to my practice, sorry, not my practice, but my schedule and my calendar, this is where you would see everything that's coming up in Practice Better. So I see sessions that I had on Wednesday. I see my sessions coming up for tomorrow. And I would also see any Google events here as well. And then these sessions in Practice Better can also be synced back to Google.
Can I, Natalie?
Yeah.
Somebody's asking about how can I prevent clients from seeing, personal events on my Google Calendar. And I just want to let everybody know that when somebody goes to book with you, they're not going to see anything on your calendar. All they're going to see are your available time slots. So based on the service that they choose and how they want to meet with you, and how you set that up in your availability, they're going to get a drop down of available slots like 10 to 10:30, 10:30 to 11. They don't see any things on your, they're not going to see that you're at a hair appointment or that you're, meeting your friend for lunch. They won't see any of that.
Right, exactly. So they will not see any personal information, I promise.
Yeah.
The question Kimberly asks that Google schedules Amazon deliveries, will that interfere with my availability? Two options. There's one thing is if the delivery is set as a busy time slot, like if the time slot in Google is set to busy, it could interfere with your availability. The other option is either one, to set that, to double check to find out if that time slot makes you free or if it makes you unavailable. That's the first thing. If it's to free, then it won't interfere with your availability. The other piece is you could always sync your Amazon deliveries to a different calendar. So it could still all be managed on the same Google Calendar, but just in Practice Better, you wouldn't choose to sync that one to your events so that it wouldn't interfere.
And maybe there's a way to set it the default for those as available or free instead of busy, so that every time it comes through, it's just, you're marked as free.
Yeah. Seal says I use self-booking and love it. My issue is when someone doesn't pre-book all of their appointments up front, my frustration is remembering to remind them to book. Is there a feature that will auto-remind them? Something where I can tell them, I can tell it we see this client every however many weeks, auto remind them. There isn't a way to do that at the moment, but what I recommend is if the client is booking sessions, like one-on-one sessions, that you add it to maybe your note templates of what you go through with a client when they come in for their sessions, and you add that to the bottom of the list, so that way you remember, say, okay, before we wrap up, let's book your next session together. I would make it, I would make it work into your workflow, so at least they could go in and reschedule it if they needed to, but at least something would be on the books. All right, so this is the first piece, right? So this is the first piece and a really important piece. So online scheduling, there are so many different ways that you can control your time, and you can be in control of what clients get to see and when they get to book you, that I would definitely recommend, if you don't already have online scheduling available, that you go in and you play around with it and you try it out. It's going to save you a lot of time. All right, Shelly, what's the next point in our onboarding?
So after you get your services and your availability set up, you really want to think about how do you want to collect payment from your client? You want to make this very seamless. You want to have it look professional. So Practice Better integrates directly with Stripe and Square. So if you want to process payments through Practice Better, you want to set up an account with Stripe or Square, and then in your Practice Better settings under third-party integration, you just connect the account to Practice Better so you can process. So you have the option to collect payment when a session is booked. So you can either collect the full payment, or you can decide if you want to collect a deposit. So if you're going to be offering a payment plan and you just want to collect a deposit, you can set that up as well. So they're always going to have the option to pay in full. But if you want to offer a payment plan, if it's a, say a 6-month package and you don't want to force them to pay, the whole amount up front, you can do that. Now, if you are going to set it as just recommending that they pay, but you're not going to require that they pay when they book either a service or a package, there's a setting where you can require that they give you their billing information, their credit card information in the system in order to book. It's not going to charge them anything right then, but at least you have their credit card information so that you can charge the card when it's time for them to pay.
Yeah. So this is the second really big piece to onboarding a client. Do I need to collect payment, and how am I going to do so? So as Shelly mentioned, we integrate directly with Stripe and Square to allow you to take payment. So your clients, when they're scheduling online, they can actually put their credit card details in. Again, you don't have to wait to get payment. You can put their details in and pay right then and there. So you can make that a requirement. So let's go to this package. We'll come back to the discovery session. It's just a free session. So in this package here, it's $500. Okay. So again, you can just display the fee. Just let them know this package, if they want to book it, is $500. But like Shelly said, you can also, so on our paid plan, on our Chrome Plus plan, you can require payment upfront, right? So you can collect the whole $500. You can require them before they can complete the booking of this package to put in their credit card details, which will charge them $500. Alternatively, you can suggest to pay. So if you're kind of indifferent, you hope some of them are going to pay, but you're okay if they don't pay upfront, you can say suggest to pay at booking, which will give them the option to pay the full $500 or to pay later. Let's go back to require to pay at booking. And under advanced options at the top of our page, this is where we have even more options about how and what kind of payment we want to select, or we want to collect, not select, but collect. So payment plan. So we can add a payment plan. So again, this is a $500 package. So if I just want to make sure that they pay me $200 at the time of booking, that's what we are calling a deposit. So you're just simply going to type in, I want $200, and that's what's going to be charged at the time of booking, right? Again, they're going to put their credit card details in, and that money is going to go to the bank account linked to Stripe or Square. Now, if you want to make sure that you've got a plan to collect the remaining $300, you can also create installments, right? Payment installments that will be charged automatically based on a schedule that we're going to set up. So again, my $500 package, I'm breaking it up into 3 installments. One deposit, that's going to be charged right at the time that they book this package. And then I'm going to say, allow my clients to pay in installments. My installment amounts, let's just say, are going to be $150, just to keep it nice and simple, right? How soon after my deposit, how soon after they pay the deposit, do I want them to pay that first $150? Let's just say it's 1 month later. Okay, it might be 2 weeks. It can vary, right? You can set up your payment plans how you want to. But for this example, we're going to say the first $150 is going to be paid 1 month after the $200 deposit, and it's going to recur every month. So every month they're going to be charged $150 until the $300 has been paid off. So this is only going to be for 2 months that they're going to have installment payments. Okay. So what's going to happen here is a client is going to pay $200 for this package at the time that they book this package, and then automatically in 1 month, their credit card that will be saved on file will be charged $150, And then 1 month after that, the last $150 will be deducted or charged to their card. So you don't have to do anything. You don't have to chase payments, right? Everything can be streamlined, or even in this case, automated. And that's what we really want for you. We want to show you how much of your onboarding process can be automated, and how much easier this is going to make it for clients to actually work with you. So this here, I'm going to take off the required payment. Suggest. Now, that's if you're collecting money, right? If we're doing a free discovery call, can't really collect money because it's free, it's $0. But what you can do to help keep any no-shows down is you can still collect credit card information. So maybe part of working with you, clients have to agree to a cancellation policy that says if they don't show up, they'll be charged $20 or whatever the case might be. So under advanced options in your free discovery session, you can say require billing information when a client books this service. And even though there's no charge associated with the service, and there will be no charge made to their card, Practice Better or Stripe or Square, whoever you're integrated with, will actually keep a copy of their card on file. So that way, again, if they don't show up and you have a cancellation policy that they've agreed to, you could go ahead and charge them. So especially with free calls, what Shelly and I found is this really helps keep the no-shows down. So who's chasing payments right now? Out of everyone who's online right now or live, how many of you have a streamlined process to collecting payments? How many of you are chasing payments, or even just don't want to talk about money? Talking about money is not always comfortable. And if it's a conversation you prefer not to have, building it right into your service or your package or your program is a great way to cut down on some of that conversations you have. You just say, this is what it is. This is what I offer. This is how much I charge. These are the payment plan options. Like, right? It's all systematized. So let's see, what are the responses here? All right, mine is streamlined automated though through this system, and it's amazing. That's awesome to hear. I'm chasing payments and I'm ready to leave it to Practice Better. Yes, Valerie, I'm excited for you too. Linda's payments.
Okay, when they schedule.
Oh,
yeah.
There's a package question. Yes, we will find it, Linda. How do you create a monthly subscription? $50 a month for a meal plan subscription. So Nikki, if you're looking to make a payment like a monthly subscription and it's to a package, what you're going to do is you're going to do a payment plan the same way. So right now, the way that Practice Better handles this is you would have to set up the total amount, right? So let's just say it's $1,200 just for the heck of it, to make things nice and simple. To this, that makes a bit more sense. Let's say it's $1,200. You can write in the displayed fee like $100 per month, right? So you can override what we show them for the fee. And then under the payment plan, you would say $100 up front, and then make the installment payments $100 for every month. So the only thing is it's not indefinite. So I would say do it as a year-long sort of contract, or that they can cancel at any time, so long as they let you know. So they can't go ahead and cancel the package themselves. They would have to let you know, and you could cancel it. That's not a problem, but this would tell them, you know, this would at least hopefully have them on for a year unless they cancel earlier.
So can you, Natalie, can you just show how, if you have a service that you don't charge for, how you can hide the fee so it doesn't show any fee?
Yeah, absolutely. So even if we're in a package, Whether it be, I can change this to $0, you would just change this to high fee. So instead of them seeing $0, they would just see no dollars. If you say display fee, they will see this package as $0. So just keep in mind that you're not able to, you can't hide the fee and collect payment, right? You have to tell them how much the service is before the system allows you to collect payment. Tammy says, love the pay when they schedule. Amy says, I haven't set it up yet since I haven't got more than 3 clients, still trialing the free practice better. No problem, Amy. You can still streamline most of everything, which other than collecting payment at the time of booking, everything else Shelly and I are going to talk about can all still be streamlined. So you can still cut back even on those first couple clients. Tammy says, we'll implement a no-show charge. Awesome. Julia says, I'm streamlined in that I ask for billing info, but suggest to pay. Honestly, most people pay when they book. That's fantastic. It makes it easy on consultation day because we don't even have to think about it. I completely agree. I think going into consultations, you know, you've got a lot on your mind and your clients have a lot on their minds, right? Because especially that first session, when they're just as nervous to meet with you and find out, can you help them? I think that I completely agree. It could be one less thing to have to think about. All right. So.
Yeah. So once you get all your payment stuff worked out, then you want to think about, what do you need? So you want your sessions to be as productive as possible. So obviously you need some information about your clients ahead of time. So things like your initial intakes, your assessments, maybe you do some kind of 3 or 7 day food journal, privacy notice, agreements, anything that you're going to need up front. You want to get that information, but you want to make it easy for clients because, you know, in the past we would email or mail forms and clients would have to download and print out and fill it out and scan it. It was just too many steps for the client. So in Practice Better, we have our very robust form builder so that you can build these forms as online forms. So there's no need to download or anything like that. So within the form builder, you know, we have a response toolbox. So you can decide if you want, you know, yes or no questions. If you want just simple free text, you can build fancy tables. If you're trying to collect information that you're going to give a score to, if you're looking at symptoms and how symptoms change over time and you want to measure progress, you can actually, you know, you can add totals, like section totals or grand totals. So there's just so many great things that you can do in the forms. And even though it's just some work up front, it's going to save you so much time down the road. And it's also going to just look so professional and make it so easy for the client when they get that either an email or an alert in the portal that they have new forms to complete or forms that they need to review and sign. So let Natalie kind of show you a little bit how the forms work.
Yeah, so forms, to get to forms, you're going to go to My Practice, Forms and Waivers. So first, before I go into forms, if you're not yet familiar with forms, and just letting you know, we see the Q&As, and I know we missed them, so we're going to go back to them, I promise. Who remembers getting a form via email, and not to knock it, because we do the best that we can with what we have when we have it. I completely believe that. But who remembers yourself getting forms emailed to you and that feeling that when you have to sit there, when you have to download it and fill it out, that's one step. But then when you remember you have to scan it, I got to scan it back to this person and email it. Who remembers that feeling? Let's see. What are we getting here?
Yes.
Yes. Yuck. Grr, definitely. Ugh, yes, Natalie. I love it. Well, I don't love it. Painful. I have that feeling even to this day. Like when I will, book an appointment with someone and the forms are online, I'm not joking, and it's not just because I'm used to practice better, but oftentimes I literally want to go and find someone else because it's so much work. You have to get a printer or find the printer, because sometimes you want to fill this stuff up on your phone. You have to print it out, and then after you print it, we're busy, right? And think about your clients as well.
If your printer has ink.
They never have ink, Shelley. Printers never have ink, or they're jammed, right? So think about your clients. Do you want them to start working with you, and the first thing that they're going to get, and again, not to knock the process, because I understand, how you want to run your business is ultimately your decision. So please don't feel offended. But the idea is really start to think about how can you make that process enjoyable, or at least a positive experience for your client. Because if they were like, I'm excited to work with you, and then they open their email and now they have to download the form, not download because that's not the hard part, but print the form and fill it out with a paper, like on paper with a pen. My penmanship is horrendous. And now they have to figure out how to scan it back to you. And forget that side of it, but how does that feel to you as a practitioner or a coach when you get that scanned document back and you're like, what do I do with this? Right? Like, what do I do with this? So this is what we really want to eliminate. We want to make it easy for your clients to come in and not just say, oh, I'm going to answer this, like, I'm going to do this quickly, or oh, that answer is good enough, because it's a painful process. We want to make the process for them easy so they can give you the information you need to do your job. Because the reality is, if they're skimping on the responses that they're giving you because they also think it's painful, then you don't have all the information you need to do your job. And then also too, what if they decide, I'm just not going to do this? I'm just going to put this on the back burner for now because this is too much work. That's the last thing we want to do, because it already took them a long time and a lot of courage to decide to go and find you and work with you. So all the stuff Shelley talked about in terms of functionality. So our form builder is really robust. I won't go into all the details, but I will show you, if you feel a bit overwhelmed about building a whole new form, we do have templates, right? So when you go to My Practice, Forms and Waivers, that red button, the fast action button in the bottom right-hand corner, you can create a form from a template. So you can start from one of these templates. These are available in all of the plans, so even the free plans, right? So if I just take the intake questionnaire, this is just a general nutrition questionnaire. And then you can modify it, right? You can change the language in it. You can drag and drop questions, like Shelley mentioned, there's like multiple choice and all these different types of questions you can ask. You can drag and drop them to where you want them to go. You can change the language. So I'm just making this up, like health goals. Doesn't really make sense in the context of this question, but regardless, you can see how easy it is to modify, drag and drop questions to a different area. You can make page breaks, right? You can have them sign. So I don't know if you want them to sign their initial intake questionnaire, but maybe you're creating a waiver and you're saying where they're agreeing to work with you and they're agreeing to whatever terms of service that you can have them sign as well. So it could be either the client who's going to sign it or you're going to sign it, right? So client signature, and they're going to be able to sign online. So now you don't need another document, a document signing service like, HelloSign or DocuSign, which I love. They're fantastic, don't get me wrong, but it's just another place where you would have to upload your documents and save that information. So the other real big piece, and as you get more familiar with the documents, the form builder, pardon me, that I want to talk to you about, and Shelley mentioned quickly, is conditional flows. Because we're talking so much about the client experience and how to make it easy for them, and because we're doing online forms and they're not printed PDFs or whatever the case might be, we can add conditional flows so they're not overwhelmed by questions that are not relevant to them. So a great example of that is something like gender specific questions, right? If they're talking about pregnancies or menstrual cycles, right? Or if we're talking about prostate health, whatever the case might be. So gender specific questions or condition specific questions, we can have conditional flows that say, for example, if someone answers one of these answers, like if they say, if their response to this multiple choice question is one of these options, then we show them these 20 questions, right? So first you build your questions, you build your form, and then you can limit what they see when they choose specific questions. So again, they don't have to see questions that are about prostate health if they're they identify as a woman. And especially in the other side of the coin, where when we're talking about female health, there's always so many questions, right? So if you predominantly work with males, you don't want them to have to go through 3 pages of questions that just aren't relevant to them, because it can again be frustrating and overwhelming, and maybe they're going to skip questions that are relevant to them, are questions that you really do need answers to, because they were just skimming through because they thought too many things didn't pertain to them. All right, so again, we've got a deep dive all about forms, so that's why I'm not spending too much time in showing you how they work, but I want to show you how it works into your onboarding process. So here we have a discovery call questionnaire that I'm actually going to ask all of my clients or potential clients who want to book a free discovery call with me to answer these 5 questions, right? And there's a little asterisk next to them because that means it's mandatory. They have to answer this question, right? So I'm going to tack this on to my service, so my free discovery session. I'm going to tack that on. So I'm going to go back into my free discovery session. Under advanced options, it says booking page forms. So you can add up to 3 forms here. We definitely recommend that you keep these forms short, right? Because you don't want to overwhelm them. Just collect the information you absolutely need. You're going to see your list of forms here. I'm going to choose my discovery call questionnaire. And now I can collect from my client whatever information I need from them before they show up on their phone call, their video session, in person, for their free discovery session. So what does that mean? Maybe you work with a specific type of client. Maybe you say, I only work with people who have digestive issues, or I only work with people for fertility issues, whatever the case might be. You can have qualifying questions, so that way you know going to this session if they're the right fit for you or not. They're the person you want to be working with, because that free discovery session is of course going to be, it's a 2-way interview. They're finding out if you're a good fit for them, but you're finding out if they're the right fit for you. So you can, when you add a form to a service or a package, that means that they have to fill out that form before they can complete their booking request. Okay? So let's Shelly, maybe we should put this all together so we can kind of paint a more cohesive page of picture of how.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Trying to answer questions.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. I know the typing gets loud. Yeah, so now let's kind of put all of the stuff that Natalie's been going over, we put it all together so that we can create an awesome onboarding process. So one of the things is how a lot of people ask, how do clients book online? Like, how do they book with me? Where do they get the link? Is it a page? Is it on my website? So if you go to, one of the things you can do is add your services, the services that you want your clients or prospective clients to be able to book with you you may have services that are not, you don't want, that only you can book, but the services that are marked as public, you can add those to your website. There's a couple different ways you can do that. So you can either copy a link and you can paste that link behind, say, a button. If you have a button on your website that says, work with me, or let's say you have a page about your free discovery call and it just says, book now, whatever you want it to say, you can put that link behind the button. So when they click on it, they go out to a page that shows your services or packages that you want clients to be able to book with you. You can also create a widget. So you can add actually a booking widget on a web page. So if you don't want your clients or prospective clients to go out to a different page, you can actually embed a widget on your website, and you will just copy the HTML that's in our settings in your page for the widget, and then those services will appear on your website and they can go ahead and book that out. Now, if you're just, let's say you are sending out an email newsletter and you're talking about that you're offering a new service or a new package and you want to link directly to that service or package that you're promoting, you can just, again, take the link. I don't know, Natalie, if you want to just show them where that link is.
Yes, I will.
You can just copy this link from the 3 dots here. You just say share, you click on the 3 dots next to the service, and then you click on share link, and then you just copy this link. And now you're probably not going to want to send it looking like this. So you can either embed it as a hyperlink. So if you say, click here, and behind the word here, you could put that as a hyperlink. So the word here just appears in blue and they can just click on it. Or you may want to shorten it a bit if you use something like bit.ly or any kind of URL shortener that makes it look shorter, a little more concise. If you're going to put it on social media, if you're promoting through Facebook or Instagram and you want to have somebody click on it to go to your service, you may have to shorten that link. But this is either a link to a page, or in your settings under booking pages, you can learn about creating a widget.
Yeah, so let me show you what Shelly's talking about. So, so what she said is there are a few, there's really, however you want to share these links with your clients or these services with your clients, that's completely up to you. A couple of very common ones that Shelly mentioned was going to the little 3 dots, so the 3 dots next to any service or package or program, and you say share link, like Shelly said. So you get this link. This link takes someone directly to Wendy Practitioners, because that's who this is. Wendy Practitioner's booking page specifically for the free discovery session. So I'm going to click on visit page, okay? And this is what it's going to look like. It's going to look like, now this is the plus plan, so this one's branded. If it weren't branded, let me show you what it would look like. So if you're on the any other plan, it would look like this. So still professional looking, still very clear. If you had a description, like I definitely recommend including, it would be right here below the 20 minutes and free, the $0 by phone or online video chat section. They're going to choose how they want to work with you. So maybe they want to see you online, right? So they can choose the days that you're available are going to be shaded in, right? So I can see that my free discovery calls are available on Wednesday or Friday for online options, right? If I choose by phone, I don't know if you remember when we set up our availability and we said Saturdays I work from home from 10 to 12, but I only do them by phone. So now we switched to by phone, and now we see availability on Saturday. So it just again makes the whole process for you. People can be booking when you're sleeping. That's our goal for you here. So again, let's look at
the time slot so they can see like what.
Yeah, I got to choose a date here.
Oh, yeah.
So November 8th. So It's actually my birthday, November 8th. I can't believe I'm working on my birthday, but okay. So here they can choose your time slot. So again, if you were gone out to brunch and you're connected to Google Calendar to practice better, you have a brunch date on Friday at 10 a.m., 10 a.m. to let's say 12. These time slots here, 10 a.m. till 12, are not going to be available. So it's not going to show anyone that you're gone to brunch. It's just not going to have those time slots there for them to choose from, okay? So they're going to choose the time slot, right? Next page is they're going to tell you who they are, right? We don't know them yet. So let's just say Jennifer Smith. I'm just going to phone number isn't required, but if it were required, there would be an asterisk there as well. The next page is our discovery call questionnaire. So where I find out more about Jennifer Smith. So again, these fields are mandatory, so they can tell you what it is they're looking for when they're coming to work with you. I did see a question about, if they're more of a generic coach. I think Anne said this. You're more of a generic coach, not certified to deal with real medical issues. It's still early to use the forms and say things like life coaching. You can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want in your forms. You can absolutely adapt them to however you practice. Whatever information, so if we're talking about forms, if we're talking about waivers, you customize them to what you're comfortable saying, two, what you're allowed to say, and then three, whatever information you want, right? Maybe in here has nothing to do with vetting someone to see if they're the right fit. Maybe it just has to do with you feeling comfortable and confident going into that session, that you feel like, okay, I'm prepped to talk about digestive issues, or I'm prepped to talk about, helping someone find employment, or whatever the case might be, right? So there is no wrong way to use this. It's 100% customizable. So I'm just going to put some random letters in these fields, right? But again, you can get information from your clients ahead of time. And here, this session, again, it's $0, but we can still require credit card details up front. So I can't go to next. I can't click next. They can't book this appointment without telling me or giving me the credit card details. So we tell them credit card is required to book this session. No payment is due at this time. So we reassure them we're not charging them, but a credit card is required to book this session. Okay. Now, this is what the booking process looks like, whether you're using a link or a widget. I'm just going to show you again, using the little 3 dots, what share link looks like, but this is for a package now, right? So if we click on the 3 dots and we say share link next to our nutrition package, again, you can embed this on your website. You can put it on the back end of your website so someone clicks on work with me and this is what they see. Like Shelly said, you can put it on social media or in an email blast to all of your whole email list. Keep in mind, like Shelly mentioned, if you're using social media, you're likely you're putting a link on social media, you're likely going to want to shorten this link, because depending on which social media site you're on, they sometimes mess up the last, like cut off the end of the URL, so it might affect someone being able to actually get to that link. So use a bit.ly link if you're on social media. But anyways, let's click on visit page. And now this is what it looks like for someone booking my package if that's gone to this link, right? So again, they have the details of the package, they see the package name, they see the fee, they see 5 total sessions, and they see the breakdown of what sessions are included in this service. So I gave this person the option to book their first session. They don't have to, they also have the option to book later, but you can make it mandatory. So if you want them to book their package and schedule their first session, you can remove the book later button. So again, they would say book now, and they would choose how they want to work with you, choose their location, and again, their time. Okay. Now, and the process is the same. Now that's the way to use the links on your website. If you're interested in using a widget, you can go to the little gear in the top right-hand corner. Under Share My Link, you can create a widget down here. So you can create a widget based on an individual service, or you can create like, let me show you what one might look like. Pull up this link. So a booking widget means that it's, like Shelly said, it's embedded on a page on your website. So this one's short. I only have 2 services on it. I just want to show my free discovery session. So this is what it looks like, booking my free discovery session through a widget. Right?
I mean, the difference is that, you know, A, they stay on your website, but B, there may be a little bit more scrolling because of, depending on the sizing of your widget.
Right.
Scroll a little bit more.
Right. And this is my program. So if you wanted in Practice Better, you can also run online programs on our Pro and Plus plan, so they could see the details of the program and the breakdown of the different weeks. So Shelly, like Shelly said, depending on how long the service is, there might be more scrolling, but there's no wrong way, right? It also depends on like what's easiest for you. But yes, so let me just show you what it looks like. So when a client goes to book a session with you online, okay, you're gonna get an email notification. So for example, Courtney Harris here requested a free discovery session with me. All right, so I can click on that free discovery session to review the time she's requested. So she requested Friday, November 15th at 10 a.m. She also had a form she needed to complete, so I can view the form before I ever confirm that session. So I can say view form, and oh, her description of why her current health concerns is that she's constantly bloated. I can write a private note here. This note would just be for me. No one would see it. I could just write a note about that if I wanted. She told me what she's tried in the past, what worked well, so this is what she told me. So I'm going into this session with some information. Again, it doesn't have to be medical or health related. It could be whatever is important to you ahead of that session, okay? But just to show you that if it's pre-qualifying questions that you're asking them at the time that they're booking, you can review that before you go ahead and confirm. And if you don't like what you're seeing and it doesn't fit with your practice, you can decline the request and send them an optional note so that they know that you've declined it and maybe why. All right. How does that feel? Does it give you any encouragement that you can streamline the work that you're currently doing and maybe work with clients a bit more efficiently? Yes, this is great. Good. Tammy, yes. Oh, sorry. Absolutely, it's great. We'll need to review the recording a bit more closely. Really great option. Thank you. This is awesome. Looks great. Good. The whole point, and this is why we broke it up into scheduling, then collecting payment, then collecting information, and then putting it all together, was because we want to show you the different layers and the different options to streamlining your onboarding process and how and what those different processes are along the way. Like, so you can start, what we would recommend, a starting point would be online scheduling. But you can choose online forms if that's the easiest thing, right? But choose one, and online scheduling is what I think a natural place to start because it's kind of the top of the onboarding process. And start there and then build on, add the next step, add collecting payment, right? Asking someone for payment up front, or at least getting them to give you their credit card details to lock down that session, because your time is very valuable. And then add on to that any information that you need to collect ahead of your session. Again, we talked about the free discovery session, but this could be your initial consultation. This could be a package. The other really cool thing that we didn't even talk about, and there are lots of other things that we can do with Practice Better, and we can streamline or automate, but under My Practice, we also have automations. And now this gives you even more options in terms of sending out forms to your clients, because you may not have information that you want to collect at the time of booking. Maybe instead you want to send out the forms once the client has given you payment or once they've booked their session. So under My Practice and automations, you click on the red button in the bottom right-hand corner, and these are all things you can automate. So you can send forms to your clients once their booking is confirmed, right? Or you could even confirm those bookings automatically. So where I went to confirm, I can't remember the test client's name, but where I went to confirm the test client's free discovery session request, I could actually automate that. So if you say, hey, I set up my availability, I'm not collecting any information up front, I don't need to confirm it manually. You can actually confirm your one-on-one bookings automatically. So you can say confirm, you can type discovery sessions. So I could say choose from my list of services. I'll leave discovery session checked. I can say auto confirm rescheduled sessions as well. So if they want to reschedule, I can even choose to give my clients who book discovery sessions access to the client portal. Let's say I don't want to give them access to the client portal. And then I can click create. If you're using, and again, I don't want to overwhelm you, but I'm just trying to show you how many things can be automated. As part of confirming a booking, you can also tag them. So if every client who books a discovery session can get a discovery call tag. So if ever you wanted to go back and see how many clients booked a discovery call this month, like you could do that. Or there's different ways you can use tags, but there are lots of things that we let you automate. And the other really common one is sending forms after a booking is confirmed. So again, maybe you're not collecting information right out of the gate at the time that they book, but maybe once they've booked their initial consultation, you want to send them immediately. Maybe you want to send them their intake questionnaire, and you want to send them their client agreement and their informed consent. So you can send however many forms you want immediately after their initial consultation is confirmed. So these forms will go out to them via email and be available in the client portal as soon as any initial consultation is confirmed. If you don't want to send them right away, you can send them 3 days before their session. There are lots of options of just common tasks that you can absolutely eliminate from your plate, so you can really focus on where your time is better spent. And your clients then, if you say every time someone books a follow-up session, they get this check-in worksheet 3 days in advance, like that's a really great, how do I say, it sets structure for your clients. So now they know, hey, every time I have a follow-up session, I get this form 3 days before to fill out and check how they've been doing since I last saw my practitioner or my coach. Like, that's really cool. You're not having to worry about, did I forget to send the forms, or I forgot to send the reminder, I forgot to get payment. And as a result, the client isn't as easily able to prepare to work with you, and they don't necessarily always know what's to come. So setting up this stuff so it's streamlined and automated in most of these instances really helps your client understand how it is to work with you and know that every time I do this, this happens. And none of it's contingent on you remembering. All right, Shelley, let's go through some of these questions. I know there are lots of questions. So.
Yeah, I was trying to answer as many as I can.
Okay. So it's also, if you guys have questions, keep a chat, look at the chat, because Shelly's answering some questions in the chat as well.
So okay, go ahead.
I'm going to tackle the Q&As.
Yeah.
So Linda says, with a three-session package, can you set up installments at each session booking? No, the payment installments are based on time, but what you can do is, if you have a payment plan set up for someone who's got a package, I don't know if I have any payment plan scheduled, but let me check. At the end of your session or the beginning of your session, you can always go into a client's package. Sorry, not package, payment plans, and you can process the payment early. So even if the payment plan says, you know, it's not going to be charged for another week, you can go in and click process now. So if they owe you $50, but it's only going to be processed on November 2nd, but you're seeing them today, you can process that payment now. So that's the only kind of workaround to that. Linda, I think there was also a question about setting up availability for the first and third Tuesday of every month. So what you can do in that instance is you can say, instead of having the the availability recur weekly, you can say it recurs every 2 weeks. Worst case scenario, you can say it recurs, you can set it up for the first week, and you can say recurs every month, and then you can set up an availability for the third week and say that recurs every month as well. So there shouldn't be any issues setting it up, depending on, but you've got a couple options there. All right. Amy says, if I have downloaded forms I've created, I might want to convert to your template so people can fill it out easier. Yes. It doesn't have to be the most pressing part, but I would definitely recommend. What Shelly and I didn't even get to talk about is what happens after the onboarding process. And honestly, what you can do with Practice Better is, I showed you quickly, but you can take notes on the forms digitally if they're created in Practice Better. So that makes it a bit easier for you, as well as being able to import the responses that the clients give you on their forms. You can import that into the session notes. So I would definitely say it's worth taking the time to do as you have time to do it. I would highly recommend it. Are there standard forms available? I think the standard forms really depend on your practice. It also depends on what kind of practitioner or coach you are. Yes. So I think that it's a tough question to answer, to be honest with you.
The form templates that we have that people can, like, they can look at the templates that we have or that some of the organizations have put out that we can use, and then modify them for their practice.
Absolutely. Amy was asking what would be a reason a client could not self-book in person? No location. I did have settings set for all 3 options. I'm not sure if I understand, Amy. I think the reasons a client wouldn't be able to self-book would maybe be if it's an in-person.
Maybe she didn't.
I think Amy, it sounds like maybe you had an issue. And if that's the case, if it's an in-person service and there are locations, the client would have to choose the location before seeing the times available. If there's no location, then that's not a problem. They shouldn't have any issues booking. Sorry. Go ahead, Shelly.
Oh, I was just wondering if she had her location set up. That might have, if she didn't have a location set up, then that would be an issue.
Yeah, actually, you can do the in-persons without locations as well. I definitely recommend having a location, but you can do them without a location. All right, Jennifer, I asked this in the chat, but realized that I should have asked it here. You send us an email answer later. So we have availability setting up for many services. Is there a way to click on a service and see when it is set up for available? Right now, I have to search to the availability calendar. So in your, under my availability, I don't know if this answers your question exactly, but you can test your availability in the top right-hand corner. Otherwise, the other way to test it would be to go to my practice and my services and click on the 3 dots next to the service and share link. So you would just go through the process like you were a client. You don't have to go through the whole process of putting in your name and stuff, but you could choose the different options of how the service is available and then see the dates that are shaded in. So if you're seeing no availability, then that's where you might want to go and comb through your availability. But this is a good starting point to at least find, like, okay, it should be on Wednesdays that I typically am available. So you can go check your availability on a Wednesday. I think that's a good and quick way to do that. So, do you feel like your client contract should include the specific package or session they've secured with you? If so, how do you recommend automatically including that in the contract? Would you would like to avoid manually entering this and making this new contract for each client? Any suggestion? Yes. Well, my answer is yes. Don't do it manually. Worst case scenario, if you absolutely want to include the service type or the specific package in each contract, is to duplicate your contract and include every service type or every package in its own contract, and then link that contract to that service or that contract to that package. So when you set up an automation or you attach a contract to the booking page for a free discovery call, you would say you'd link the discovery call contract, or set up an automation for discovery call session with the discovery call contract. I think that's my, the only way I can think of automatically doing that at the moment. But I definitely wouldn't recommend doing it manually. And what you could definitely do, Linda, and anyone is wondering about stuff regarding forms or waivers, Lisa Fraley is a fantastic resource. We love her. She is an attorney, and she works with health and wellness professionals on getting their forms legally soundly set up. So you could always do a quick call with Lisa or anyone in your area, any attorney in your area, to find out what are the actual requirements for your contracts. So I have older patients I don't think will be filling out the forms online. Can I also download the forms and print them for them to fill out in person? Absolutely. And then once they're filled out, can I upload them to their client profile? Yes, absolutely. So what you can do is you can do one of two things. So under My Practice Forms and Waivers, you can choose the form, so intake questionnaire, and you can say preview as PDF, and then you can just print this out. So you download it and print it. The other option, if you really wanted to do it with them side by side and keep the file digital, is you could do, say, complete for client. This only works if the client, if the form doesn't require a signature. So you're going back to My Practice, Forms and Waivers, you click on 3 dots, and you can complete the form for the client. So you can sit there with them and enter the information for them, and then it's still digital. So those are the two options you have. And you can, yes, upload their completed form if they do a paper option into the document section in a folder for them. All right. Christine says, can you, Natalie, give one more example of weeding out using pre-discovery call forms? It's kind of a business question, but it was a light bulb for me. Like weeding out those who are only looking for people who take insurance, for example. Yeah, absolutely. So Christine, you can absolutely build into your discovery call questionnaire or even onto your website that you work with clients specifically who, or you only work with clients who, you know, self-pay, for example, or you don't take insurance or whatever the case might be, but you can absolutely add one of those pre-qualifying questions here, like, you know, are you able to pay out of pocket? Or are you willing to pay out of pocket? Do you have the funds? The great thing about a questionnaire is it's sometimes easier to ask those hard questions because you don't have to, you know, you're not actually asking it. They're just filling out the question. And if they say no, then you can decline their session and just say, you know, unfortunately, I don't, you know, work with insurance, or I don't take insurance, or whatever the case might be. So I think that's a great, option to add to your questionnaire.
One of the things that we didn't mention yet is that all of you should, and we highly recommend having a client set up. And then as you're, you know, thinking through different flows for your onboarding process, you know, it's just so helpful to log in as your client and kind of go through the flow so you can see what your client's going to experience. And you might try out a couple different ways. And then as you test it out with your test client, you'll be like, oh, you know, this way is just so much easier. Like I wouldn't have known that unless I actually went through it myself. And
yeah.
So helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we're going to take like 5-6 more questions. I know we've got a ton. So there's a question Nikki asks about automatically sending an invoice prior to an appointment. No, there's not a way to do that at the moment. What you can do, I'll take the branding off this. What you can do is make it part of your review. So maybe when you're getting ready for your session, when you go in and see if your client has filled out a form, for example, Mary Smith, you can go in and go through the things for Mary Smith, the different sections for Mary Smith. Under bookings and packages, whether it's in her file or if you're on your homepage and you just go straight to bookings, like maybe at the beginning of the day, you look at the stuff that's coming up this week. So maybe I say, all right, this person's coming in on the 24th, or maybe you're doing it for next week, right? This person's coming in on the 29th. You can click on the 3 dots, say create, edit, invoice, and then all you do is say send. And now they've received the invoice. So they've already received an email with the invoice, and there's a pay now button on there if you did use Stripe or Square. So at the moment, what I would do is, if you're not taking payment at the time that they book their session, I would work it into your workflow where you're going into under my schedule, my booking, and you're working a couple of days in advance. How do I actually have a client pay me online using Practice Better while the client is teleconferencing with me and collect payment then? So if they already have the invoice, they can go right into their client, they'll already be in their client record or their client portal, pardon me, during their teleconference. So you can have them go to their invoice section and they're going to have a pay now button, and they'll just put their credit card details in. Or the other option is if you want, if you're in the session with them, let's go to, yeah, if you're in the session with them, you can click on the 3 dots again, edit, create or edit invoice. Let's say it was saved. Oh, $0. It's a terrible example. Sorry. This one. Sorry, I wasn't prepared for this question. And then you could just go process. So you would click on process in the top right-hand corner of their existing invoice. You can say pay now, and then you can take their credit card details as part of the session. Enter the details, submit, and it goes through. All right. Before we wrap this up, I just want to confirm, is this helpful? Do you guys feel like you can go and streamline your work and you can create a better experience for your clients as well? Incredibly helpful. Tammy says yes. Yes, I was worried only 2 people thought it was helpful. Yes. Perfect. All right. So I know that you had other questions that we didn't have a chance to get to, but if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to our customer success team. They are fantastic. They're always happy and ready to help. So you can email them at help, type this in, or Shelly, can you type it in? At help@practicebetter.io. Tomorrow, Shelly and I are going to send out the replay to this webinar so you can go through it again. You can go through it a bit more slowly. You can go through it while you're setting up and streamlining your own onboarding process. And then we're also going to send you any relevant links to topics that we talked about, links to our help articles. So if we talked about anything about how to set up, whatever it might be, working with forms, working with payments, we're also going to include all of those links in there for you so you have a nice condensed recap of everything we talked about. All right. Thank you guys so much. Thanks so much for sticking around all this time. I know we went over, as we typically do, but we always want to make sure that we're answering as many of your questions as possible. Have a fantastic day.
Thanks, everybody.
And we'll talk to you soon.